Hello everyone. So this video looks much different because I'm filming on a tablet right now, but I got some new European banknotes to show you, so let's get into it. First we have these Liechtenstein hellers. I already had the 50 heller on the bottom. However, the two new ones up top are the recent arrivals. They came in from an eBay seller in Kiryat Ono in Israel. And interestingly, Liechtenstein only ever made these free banknotes in 1920, so this is the first country I have the full catalog of. As you can see, we have a coat of arms on the front. It is in German, of course. And on the back, we have some landscapes. Flip this over, I can show you. So these are actually pretty well designed. Let me put the page back here so you can make it more visible to see. So we have some scenes here of the local landscape in Liechtenstein. I believe they are largely in the same area, of course, because Liechtenstein is a very small country. Very interesting to see the local landscape. It's very well drawn, almost very reminiscent of the sort of landscape images you'll see on like the backs of modern banknotes. Now, the reason why Liechtenstein only ever made these free banknotes is actually quite interesting. In 1920, Liechtenstein switched from using the independent Liechtenstein krone to the Swiss franc. Historically, Liechtenstein, a German-speaking area, had been quite close with Austria. However, that completely changed with World War I. After the war, the Austrian Empire, which had been part of the Central Powers, lost and was broken up into multiple different states. So Austria no longer carried this diplomatic power they used to have, and Liechtenstein, being a very small country with a very small population, had to turn somewhere else. Now luckily, there are two countries that Liechtenstein border, Austria and Switzerland. So Liechtenstein switched their allegiances from being Austrian to being Swiss, and they adopted the Swiss franc. Now, their legacy with Austria, which had been on the losing side of World War I, still was haunting them at this time, as they actually attempted to apply to join the League of Nations, and Switzerland was the only country to vote yes. It was a 28-1 loss. So they were still in a very disadvantaged position at that moment. And it's very interesting to see these banknotes from 1920, because this is really like a fundamental shift within Liechtenstein. They went from being this very, Austrian-leaning country to being a very Swiss-leaning country. And this is actually somewhat reflected today in how they have a very neutral stance. They're not part of the EU, likely because of Switzerland being a very neutral country. I don't believe Switzerland's part of the EU, if I recall correctly. And Liechtenstein doesn't have a standing armed force. They only ever went to war once in 1868. They had only become a fully independent country 2 years earlier in 1866. And they had an army of 80 men that went to Italy. I don't remember the exact details of the conflict. One Italian soldier defected to the Liechtenstein side, and as a result, they returned with +1, no fatalities, and they never went to war again. I don't remember the exact date they stopped having a military, but I don't think it was that long afterwards. So another interesting moment in world history there from Liechtenstein. Now, the unit of Liechtenstein's free banknotes is the heller, and the heller is a very small unit, usually seen as a coin. It was historically used in Germany and Austria, and for an example here, these are two Austrian knockout banknotes from 1920 and 1921, or I think they may be both from 1921, I'm not sure. I can't really see through the screen very well. The top one up here, the larger one, is for a specific town, and the smaller one on the bottom is for the entire region of Upper Austria. And the reason I want to show this is because these are my only other hellers in my collection. A lot of the Austrian knockout banknotes were hellers though, because that was a much more common unit there. And it just really shows how Liechtenstein was historically much more connected to Austria, because they were using a traditionally Austrian monetary unit. The backs of these two are blank, so I'm just not going to show that. Now we are still going to be in Austria here because of these two banknotes right here. These two are 2 Kronen and 10 Kronen, or Kronen. I'm not exactly sure how that transliterates to English. The top one, the 1 Kronen, is from the same issue, but I already had that one. All 3 are from the 2nd of January, 1922. Let me zoom out a little bit so you guys have to look at this 2 Kronen up here is blank on the back, but this one has something on the back, so I'll flip that over later. As you can see, these are some very well designed banknotes. They're smaller banknotes, but very well designed. I actually saw one of these 10 Kronen banknotes, not in this good of condition, years ago, and I always remembered it because it looked very distinctive, but I could never figure out which one it was until I saw this one, so I had to get it. I think it's a very interesting, very well detailed design for a small banknote. Let me show the back. Now, Austria during this time was the first Austrian Republic, and I don't know what the exact exchange rate for the Austrian krone was, but I do think they probably were not in a very good financial position because they were, like I said earlier, on the same side as Germany, the losing side of World War I, and the German mark, the day these were issued, the 2nd of January 1922, hit 6,600 mark to $1 US. It couldn't be used to pay debts in the US anymore because of the hyperinflation. So I'm not exactly sure what the situation in Austria was, but I have a feeling these banknotes probably didn't carry that much value. And those previous 2 Austrian krone came from Brigantine, New Jersey. Just thought I want to give a little info on that. Next, we'll be looking at 5 Swiss banknotes. Came in from Silver Springs, Maryland, right near the border with Washington, D.C. And up top, we can see the oldest one here, 5 francs. We have German, Italian, and French on the front here. It's from 20th of January, 1949. Just want to check the date there. From Bern in Zurich. Very well designed, very pretty design, typical 1940s sort of thing. You see a lot of geometry going on. Got this woodsman figure over here on the side. And on the back, just move the paper now. See a very strong geometric design going on here. Once again, we see the same 3 languages. We've got German, Italian, and French. 3 of the 4 major languages of Switzerland. And down on the bottom, switch back over again. We have 10 francs from 1969. This is a very, very interesting looking thing. It's got kind of got that 60s feel to it with the curved designs going on. And once again, it is the same 3 languages. It's very similar in the design, the idea behind it, I think, although it doesn't look that much similar. I don't know who the guy with the glasses is, but he's probably some major Swiss figure. And if we look at the back, also I should note this is an interesting color scheme. We got pink, a very pale pink on the back, and purple. That one you see a lot. And we got a nice looking flower on the back, a picture of some of the Swiss fauna, I'm guessing. Now, I am in need of some more pages, so let me show you the next 3 just on this piece of paper. Let's start with the oldest one. 20 francs from the same issue, dated to 1970. Very similar looking, a lot of curved geometric design. I really like the way it looks. This one is blue, purple, and I think violet, I would describe it. Same 3 languages as usual. And on the back, we got another example of Swiss fauna. Very nice looking flower. And the next 2, last 2 actually, are from the same issue. I'll start off with the 10 franc up here. This is the first issue to have all 4 languages. Let me explain. Now first, let's look at this color scheme. We've got red and green. Very nice combination. And we got another figure up from here. We got his name. His name is, I think Leonard Euler, probably some major figure in Swiss history. And, well, actually, he has to be, he's on the banknote. And interestingly, you'll notice we have German up here, but then right underneath it is a different language. Now that's called Romansh. And Romansh is the fourth language of Switzerland. It's not as big as the other three, but it is very distinctive, and it's spoken in southeastern Switzerland. And it's not that big of a language as it historically was. However, it's really started to make a comeback, and they started putting it on the banknotes around this time. Look at the back, we actually see it goes the same direction. This one is from 1979. They put the year of issue right in front of the serial number. And I believe he was a scientist of some sort based on these illustrations we got going on. Looks like cells. Very nice design we got going on here. And we can see we got the French and the Italian. Next, we have the 20 francs with Horace Benedict de Choiseul, I think that's spelled or pronounced. And once again, we can see it's blue, green, and brown. Very interesting color scheme with the French and the Romansh on the front. Same thing with the denominations down here. This one is from 1978, so it's actually older than the 10 franc. And we got some mountaineers. Now, as everyone knows, Switzerland is an alpine country that's a lot of mountains in it. So this isn't very surprising. The mountains are a very important part of Switzerland and their culture. And also it's very interesting, looks like we got some sort of like a golden ratio sort of seashell design going on. So this is a very neat banknote. I really like this blue color scheme we got going on. Now, just to kind of give more of a demonstration of the change in languages in Switzerland, this is my newest banknote. I already had this one for a couple of years. And if we turn it this way, we can see on the front we got French and Italian. On the back, we have German and Romansh. So the fourth language of Switzerland finally getting its recognition, starting in the late 70s. So I get this one into focus. Here we have, there we go, 500 francs from France. This is a very nicely designed banknote. It's not in the best condition, but still looks pretty good from the design. Got this guy on the front, looks like some instrument strings. Got a lot of purple going on here. You see it's exactly dated to September 12th, 1946. And on the back, we got a little scene here. Two women. Neat how they put the little legal notice on the little block here. Very strong design, very rich design we have going on here. A lot of detail going on. Like behind the writing, there's even stuff going on there. A lot of different colors. We got pink, purple, green, brown, even some red going on, blue in the back for the sky. This is a really nicely designed banknote. And I have another French franc from 1951 I want to compare to this one because it's really good design too. So here we have 100 francs from the same issue but from a later date. As you can see, it's very similar. Now we got a farmer on the front with looks like he has blonde hair. He's carrying a hoe for digging the dirt, and he's got his cattle with him. Here's a much different color scheme. We got red. We still got some purple actually, but it's more like a greenish brown base. But it's still very well designed, just like the last one. On the back, we can see a little scene here. It's like a family. Got the husband, the wife, and their 3 children playing around a basket. Looks like they're at a port. I'm not exactly sure what the thing they're like leaning on is. I still got some very strong design to it. Same thing going on. They put the legal message on the block the dad is sitting on. And you got the domination and the name again. Actually, that may be stupid. Okay. Alright, the date here is on the front. I'm crazy, I guess. But as you can see here, it's September 6th, 1951. So that would be, let me do the math in my head here. That'd be 3 years later. So same issue, around the same time, really good design we got going on here. The French banknotes generally do tend to have very strong design going back well into the 1900s to the 1950s. Even the later ones are still very well designed too. So another great example of the strong tradition of detailed design in French banknotes. Last banknote there came in from Ishpeming, Michigan. Pretty interesting place name. It's actually in the Upper Peninsula of Michigan, which is much different from the Lower Peninsula, interestingly enough. And that's it for today. Just some recent banknotes I thought you should know about. And like and subscribe if you like the video. Leave a comment if you have any thoughts, and thanks for watching.